So, hello everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to this Microsoft Teams webinar. And today we want to answer the question, is Microsoft Teams a Swiss Army knife, and can collaboration, communication, and business apps be in one tool? I'm very happy to have so many people joining today, and so who's speaking to you today? That's myself, Matthias Walter, working at Skybow as a Chief Product Officer. And here with me in the background is Sebastian Schneider. He's our Chief Commercial Officer, and he will be there in the background for your questions. There is a Q&A section for you on the right side. Just go ahead, ask your questions there. He will answer them directly, or we will gather them at the end of this webinar. There will be, of course, a recording from this webinar. We will send that out afterwards. So, what are we gonna talk about today? The agenda is we want to give you a first 360-degree overview of Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, everyone is talking about it. It's really one of the main topics you can read everywhere in social media and blogs and everywhere. And we want to give you an overview of that Microsoft product because almost everyone just knows about messaging, etc. But there's much more behind Teams, and that's what we want to show you. And we want to talk about what makes it so successful. So it was launched back in March 2017, and it was really going upwards from the beginning. And only 2.5 years later, it's really one of the most successful tools of Microsoft. Then after that, we wanted to give you some tips and tricks. So from our experience, because we are using Teams really in our daily work within Skybow, and just our experience, what tips and tricks can be useful for you to even better use Teams. And afterwards, we will have a look at how about everything can be in one tool, communication, collaboration, and apps. Then we will do a demo of business apps within Teams, and at the very end, the Q&A section. And as I already said, if you have questions in between, so don't hesitate to ask them in the Q&A. Good. So Microsoft Teams, as I mentioned before, consists of several tools, if you want to say it like this. It's about messaging, it's about calls you can do with Microsoft Teams, you can do meetings. There are specific devices. I will come to all of those points in detail right afterwards. You can manage files, work on files together. There is one specific app for frontline workers where you can plan their shifts direct in Teams. And there is a big marketplace with apps and an integration and a very powerful search. Those are the 8 components that are part of Teams. So coming to them in detail. Messaging. I think that's the most or the topic almost everyone knows about. You can have chats, whether direct chats like you were able to do within Skype for Business or Skype or all the other tools before. And you can have team chats. So In the team chats, you can make announcements. You can just, like you see in this little GIF, in this animated GIF here, you can have a conversation or you can make announcements. It's kind of similar. I will show you that afterwards. And you can do that in a team and of course using the direct chat as well. So next to that, the calling is about voice or video calls you can do, and you can do a direct routing to your phone on your table. You can configure an emergency service that everyone can just call out to an emergency service. You can configure that in the backend, and there is a voicemail function. So if you're not reachable, then someone can leave a voicemail for you. Then online meetings and live events. Those are two separate things. And of course, for me, that's as well the very first time I'm using live events. That's actually, I mean, we're talking about Microsoft Teams. So for me, it was clear to use that new feature to make this kind of broadcast to do the webinar. And the other thing is meetings. You can join your colleagues in a meeting, like you see on the screenshot, and just have online meetings. Some specs here: you can meet up with the 250 people in a meeting. And this live event, what we are doing here, is for 10,000 attendees. And you can do that. You can do a recording, and it's for up to 4 hours. We can share content or the screen. So right now I'm sharing my screen. And back in Skype for Business, there was something like Skype broadcasts, but the downside there was you were just able to share content, but not your screen. And for a webinar, that's not really useful. So, but this new feature to share the screen is very, very powerful, and I don't need to use all the other webinar tools out there. I can directly use the live events. Yes, and it's all recorded automatically. It's a setting, and the recording is automatically saved in Stream, which is another Office 365 product. One thing to mention for the live events is that live events are only in the plans of Enterprise E1, 2, 1, 3, and 5, and in the educational plans A3 and 5. So all the other plans like Business Premium or the business plans, etc., they will not have live events. But I'm really curious about how this will go, how your experience with this live event is. I'm really wondering maybe if you have some feedback, if that is a good way of having a webinar or not. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to your feedbacks about this one. So we are able to host even more in the future like this. About meetings and live events, I have a second page. There's a scheduling assistance, what you can see here. So if you create a new meeting, and here in the upper left corner, you can switch between meeting and live event. If you have one of those plans I mentioned before, you see that drop down. Otherwise, you just see the new meeting. And if you invite other people, you have a scheduling assistant where you can check their calendars. Of course, that will work internally only. That's one thing. And there's an option to meet in a channel. So each team can have multiple channels. It's just like a section or a topic, or however in a team. and you can meet in a channel, which means you don't need to invite separate persons. You can say, let's meet in, we have a budgeting team, let's meet in that weekly, and you just choose the channel budgeting, and you will, everyone of who is member of that channel or of that team will get an invite. And of course, there's, like before, a great and simple Outlook integration. Outlook, just create a new meeting from there. Live events can only be created in the client, in the Teams client, or in the browser. But so as far as I know, but correct me in Q&A section if I'm wrong, it's not yet possible in Outlook. Yes, that's about this topic. Then devices, there are a big list of devices which are very easily to integrate into your teams, So you can have this in your meeting room. There are devices having cameras, microphones, this touchpad here, what we can see, where you can start a meeting with one click. You see the schedule, and if you create a new meeting, then you specify a room where the meeting can be held, and then you can join this, or you can specify a device to be in a specific room, and then you see the calendar of the upcoming meetings of that specific room, and you can simply go to the room, click to join, and you're already in there. So devices, there's a big list of devices. If you search for Microsoft Teams devices, you will find a list of those online. Files is a very powerful way to work together on specifically on Office documents. You can work together at the same time. So like you see in the screenshot, you can have the Office web apps are used here in the background. So for Excel, PowerPoint, Word, you can use them in the browser directly, or if you open them in the client, that will work as well. You see who is working on the same document. You will see who is working on what section. Yeah, and you directly see the others change in the document. You can have a conversation here on the right side, conversation to the document, etc. So it's really to collaborate on documents in between a team. You can share files. You can share files with different permissions, stuff like this. You can send links to files. You don't need to send emails anymore with attachments. So that's a no-go, of course, internally. And you can sync those folders to your local drive using OneDrive. So there's a sync button, and then you have them on your local drive. And the great thing there is, back with other tools like Dropbox and others, you always had the full file size on your disk. So which means if you had a Photoshop file of 50 megabyte and you sync that to your local drive, you have 50 megabytes on your local drive. And with OneDrive, it's very easy to just have like a stop on your local drive, not the complete file. And then when you use it, you can sync that to your local folder. And you can always release that space, and you just say, I just want to see what files are available, but if I do not open them, I will not have them on my local machine. And there's an option you can configure which of those are available. For now, we have Dropbox, Box, ShareFile, and Google Drive. And by default, all of them are activated. but you can restrict it within your company to say, okay, I just want to have share file, for example, from Citrix. Then this first line worker app, there used to be different apps, but at the moment, that's the one which still exists, where you can plan the schedule of your frontline workers, which is part of the you have it available whether here in the left navigation bar or under the 3 points. You will see more stuff, and it's called shifts, and there you can plan this the schedules of your frontline workers, which is one of the only like complete or full application which is provided within Teams. And there's a big app integration today with a little bit more than 250 apps which you can install in the channels, and a very powerful API which is using the Graph API in the backend to work with those apps. And one thing I personally really like is the search functionality, because you can really search if you look for a document or a person, or just you send something in a chat. It doesn't matter where it is. You can just use the search field in the top bar, and then you specify where to search. Is it a message, a person, or files? And for each section, there is a refiner here, so a filter, advanced filters. And I really like that feature or that search functionality, because you have so many, maybe you have lots of teams and folders and stuff, and you cannot remember where you've stored this file before. And with a search, it's very easy to find the files again. And as well, other persons or messages that you've sent or someone else sent to you. So this is really, really powerful, and it saved me time quite often to find something. So, but I told that in the beginning, it's really one of the most successful tools of Microsoft, but what makes it so successful, in our opinion? So that's a statistic from November. That's the latest one. They said they have 20 million daily active users. Of course, it's hard to say how they count them. If you just use a very specific part, of course, you already count as an active user. But they already, in the beginning of this year, or the first half of the year, they they had more active users than Slack, and that's always this battle, Slack against Teams. And but what it shows very good is it actually started somewhere here, or the official launch was in March 2017, and the growth curve, what we see here, is really impressive. Whereas Slack is more, is less steep here. I did not find any newer numbers of Slack. So 12 million at this in September 2019. So, but why is it growing so fast? Maybe some numbers. So those were the numbers after 1 year. Already 200,000 organizations are using Teams. That's what they said, and they already created more than 3 million teams. That's quite impressive. And 60% of the users are still in the US. I think that changed a lot. At least I mean, we are sitting here in Switzerland, and the topic here in Switzerland, in Germany, is very hot. So we have quite a lot of customers using Teams already, or want to migrate to Teams and use Teams. So that was after 1 year in March 2018. 200,000 organizations. So 1 year later, March 2019, there were already 500,000 plus organizations using Teams. And as well, 91% of the Fortune 100 companies are using Teams. I mean, that's a lot. And also a lot of bigger organizations with 10,000 plus active users. At least for Switzerland, that's of course a very big company. Maybe not in the US, but yeah, those numbers are quite impressive. And we think, of course, one thing is because it is part of the Office 365 and it gets automatically installed, then you will see that screen when you start up your PC, and you might say, oh, what's that? So you click on the learn more, probably, or it's just installed on your machine. It's pushed when you're logged in, or when you're using Office 365. And yeah, Office 365 is used so much, so I see a lot of people just having this Microsoft Teams screen, and it's just pushed to your PC, even if you don't use it actively. And for me, that one is the main part. I mean, you see, Office 365, there are so many tools for each, let's say, problem. There is one thing how you can solve it. If it's stream for your videos, or Power BI for reports, of course, the whole Office suite, your calendar, your email, your tasks, all that stuff. And in my opinion, Teams make it really easy to consume those services. It doesn't matter what is there in the background. It's just the Teams client, and everything is included. Yeah, and it's very easy to use them, and you don't need to know about all of them in detail. So, and another thing is that it's really the cross-platform presence. You can use it on your desktop, on your mobile, in the browser, in all the different browsers. So it's really accessible from everywhere. Even when I'm on the way to work, in the train, or yeah, in public transport, I can simply use my phone and join meetings, text with other team members, even work. It's maybe not the easiest, but work on Excel spreadsheets or whatever. It really it makes me much more flexible in my work. And another thing why it's so successful is probably there is on the one hand, there's a free version, and let me show you. Come on. Here. So you can use Microsoft Teams for free, so fully for free. And if you look down to that, to the plans, the free plan already includes a lot. So you can have the whole message and search is fully there. You can use the guest access. You can add other people from outside, up to 300 users. That's actually also the case for the business plans. So if you want to have unlimited users or more users, better to say, you would have to go for an E plan, for the enterprise plan. But if it's the business, essential, premium, or free, you can use 300 users. The only thing which is missing is you cannot schedule meetings, for example. So you can just, of course, make ad hoc meetings, just call someone directly, invite someone else, but you cannot schedule a meeting and you cannot record them. And the audio conferencing is not part of it as well, but the whole rest is there. File storage is limited, of course, to 2 GB per user and 10 gigs of shared storage. But that's already okay for a free tool. And main thing which is missing down here is, of course, the whole backend, so administration and support, which is not there at all. Yeah, and for single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, stuff like this is not part of it. But for the rest, it's you can use it for free, and that's really cool. And they have great offers for education. So they have specific education plans. Most of them get it for free or really for a very good price. And yeah, there are even specific features for schools to manage classrooms, for the teachers, etc. And yeah, that's really an important point to start. Everyone is making an education, and if you already have used Teams there, yeah, why will you not use it in your business? So that's, of course, a great thing to have as an offer as well. Sorry. So this is why we think Microsoft Teams is so successful. Those are the reasons. And now let's come to the next point with some tips and tricks. So these are our personal tips and tricks. Of course, there will be many more which I might have missed, but that's the list here I want to give you today. So there's a way to restrict who can create a team, because of course, if you are a big organization, you don't want to have just everyone creating teams and private teams. You don't know how many teams are there. Of course, you will see that in the administration, but there's a way how you can restrict uses of creating additional teams. So it's in a managed way, especially for larger organization. I would give this tip here. Then there is a newer feature. I mean, there are a lot of changes all the time, so to keep up to date, it's very hard. So this one is more or less new. You can create org-wide teams. And what is an org-wide team? You can create 5 of them, but I don't know. Normally, I would say you need 1. An org-wide team, let me give you an example here. I've created a team here, and this is where everyone is part of it. So you create that team down here, create a team here, create a team, build a team from scratch, and then you have the 3 options: a private team, a public team. So here everyone can join, find a team and join, and an org-wide. Then the org-wide team, main difference is the members are managed automatically based on your Office 365 users. So if someone joins the company, then this will automatically be added to that team. If someone leaves the company, you restrict that person from login, then this person will be removed from that team. And that's the main thing here. So you have a place where you can have org-wide announcements or chats. And yeah, that's that's the org-wide team. I would give you as an advice to create one of them to just have a communication for everyone in here. And there's an option just to pin. Yeah, I already pinned it. That's why it's up here. So you can pin that channel that it's always available up here. So that's tip number 2. Create one of those teams. If you don't have a team right now like this, but you already have a team, you might have invited everyone manually. You are able to change a team. If you click here, edit team, you can specify the org-wide and you can change, for example, from a public to an org-wide team, and then automatically everyone is added or removed based on the users in your Active Directory. So, and just to make it, again, especially for bigger organizations, define rules for the team names so that there is a specific rule how they should be created, and it makes it just easier to navigate and find the right teams. Then there is a group expiration policy, and that's actually a configuration you can do to say if a group is not used after, let's say, 180 days or 360 days, then someone at the group owners get a notification, hey, do you still need this team or can it be cleaned up? That's just yeah, something you can activate, and then the group owners will get a notification to check if the team is still in use. Otherwise, you have so many orphaned or just unused teams out there. Then there's a Who app, which is actually quite useful if you want to learn or know more about your organization. And the Who app, for those of you who don't see the Who app here, on the 3 points, you will see this Who. And in the Who app, there's a bot where you can ask questions like I did here. So for example, who is Megan? So and the answer of the bot was this person, and I have additional actions here. What are the peers or who is working with Megan? That's what I clicked here, and then it sent that message and it returned. So this bot returned with whom she's working. And next to that bot, you have an organization tree where you can see where at the moment Megan is located in the organization. You can click on other persons, see all their details, directly chat with them, call them, whatever from here. And you can see all your upcoming meetings in here. There are some shortcuts over here as well in the search with a slash, for example, who. And then you can type, like I did before, who is Tom, who is Megan, who is Grady. And then the bot will give you an answer on that. Here's Grady. So the Who app is really helpful to get to know your organization. Then there's another app which is called Help, and that's how to learn more about teams. So the Help is here as well. Help. And yeah, you can just learn about teams with all the stuff which is available here. There are trainings here to learn teams in detail, work together on files, send an email to a channel, and so on and so forth. Quick tutorials, very cool stuff. And what's new? So for those of you who are very interested in detail, what's new, or just type in what's new over here and you will come to this page as well, wherever you are. So if you're somewhere in Teams, what's new, and you will get to the help app, seeing what is new in Teams. So if you want to keep up to date, that's the way to go. And if you want to work in two different organizations at the same time, there is, I don't have that right now. So this person, this Megan, is only one organization, but already if you are invited to someone's team outside of your organization, you will see a little drop down over here to switch between the teams. And you can always be just in one to switch between the different organizations, but you can always be in one organization at a time, unless you use, for example, the client you install on your Windows to be in one organization, and then maybe you use a browser like I did here, and just used teams.microsoft.com, and here I can use a different person in a different organization. And the third one would be if you use Incognito or InPrivate, a new window, and you just log in with another person or another organization there. So you can work in different organizations like this. Then in messaging, tips and tricks in messaging, there is a way how you can send an email to a channel. So if you go to your team, let's say here, Mark 8, you go to the channel you want to send the email to, and then using the 3 points, you can get the email address. So each channel has its own email address. So if you click here, you will get a very specific email address. Come on. What's wrong? Load again. And then let's see, once again, email address. Does not, here you go. So you see the specific email address. And if you just copy that email address, use your favorite mail tool like this, and just go ahead and put that into CC, BCC, or however, and the email will be sent with attachments. So for example, this one, just put in the email address here, test Teams webinar, send, and after some seconds we will find that message in the conversation section of that team. But we'll check that out later, I guess. That will take some, let's see. Yeah, here you go. So that's my email. If there are attachments, they're automatically stored in the backend, and the email will come to that team. Then there's a very new feature which is called private channels, which means you can do, this one is a private channel. So if you create a new channel, you can here go and say add a channel, and then there's a privacy option for private. So private means only a specific group of people can join that channel, and as well in the backend the files. So this is very useful if you have, in this case, a budgeting team or a management team, which are part of a team, but is like a subgroup. They want to discuss something without creating new teams all the time. So that's how you can just create in your team. You can create one channel which is private, that can be used for specific people only. And that can be done here. So here you can add additional members for this specific team channel. Then you can add emojis to your channels just to make it, better looking, or that's you will find your stuff faster. I did that here and here. the tip here is create the channel first without an emoji, because there will be a folder in the SharePoint in the backend as well, etc. So it's better to have the upfront without the emoji, and afterwards just go here, say manage. Sorry, I'm not the owner probably in this one. Let me see. I'm not an owner of those here. So there's one called edit channel or rename or something like this. And then you can simply, like you can use everywhere, Windows point, and then you can add your emojis. So Windows key and point, and then together, and then you get that one to add the emoji to your channel name. Then there's an option to praise other colleagues for good work or whatever. That's a cool way of, yes, if you appreciate someone's work. If you're somewhere in a conversation, press on the three dots down here, and there's a praise app. And from here you can say for what, just thank you, or hey, awesome coach, problem solver, whatever. You type a name of someone. Miriam. No. It's probably not. No, it's the wrong. It's only possible for the team members. So I would need to take another team, like here, and I can do that from here. Miriam. So only team members are available. Add a note, and you can see how it will look like when you post that. So that's a nice way of appreciating someone's work. And the whole conversation possibilities, you can add a new conversation, or you can add announcements. And one thing is, there is an important flag, like in emails, it's nothing else. Use them rarely, otherwise they will lose their priority. And I often work with subjects in a conversation. It just structures the conversation a little bit more. And to do that, if you're here in a conversation, like here, you click on that format icon, and then you have the advanced settings. You can change from conversation to announcement. You can give it a subject from here. And yeah, you can post it to several channels. So you can say, okay, post it to this channel and maybe to this one as well, and to this one as well, etc. So you can post something, whether an announcement or just this one, to all those channels, and can define who can reply. This is quite a cool feature. So last but not least, in a meeting, I already mentioned that one, a channel to meet. Just select that channel. You don't need to invite all the members separate. And then there's a cool feature. If someone else shares the screen, and let's say the other person has a 27-inch, 30-inch screen, and I just have a 24-inch or something smaller, then you can use the scroll of your mouse to zoom in. So that's a nice feature. And there's a setting you can do in the admin center, which is not activated by default, to allow externals to give or request control. So if you share the screen and someone else would like to help you with something, internally that will work. But if you have external people in the meeting, by default that will not be activated. You can activate that in the admin center. But both sides need to have that activated. If you just have that activated, but the other side will not, it will not work. But that's really cool. If you can, yeah, have control on the other screen. Everyone will have its own mouse cursor. It's not like before that you will control the mouse cursor of the one sharing the screen. Everyone will have its own mouse cursor and a little picture of yourself just next to the mouse. That's really cool. And another tip, you can only sync specific folders. So you don't need to sync the whole library all the time. You can specify in your OneDrive settings which folders you want to sync. So coming to our last topic, I hope the tips were useful for you. And last topic is about, we saw communication, collaboration, but what about apps all in one tool? And the question is, how about all my forms and custom processes? Because if we look at the marketplace, the app marketplace, there are no such apps, and you're not able to build your own custom apps in an easy way. And that's where skybow will come into the place with our business apps platform. With the skybow business apps platform, you can use app templates to start with. We have several app templates. You can create your own app templates within minutes. You can create your custom apps really with ease. There is a simple Visivic editor to create your forms and your process and all the actions behind, which should be there. And you can integrate them seamlessly into your teams. I will show you that right afterwards. And the great thing is that you can package, deploy, and update the apps to different teams. If you want to use the same application, let's say contract management or a leave request, just in several teams in a bigger organization, then you can just have the same app deployed to those 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. And you can update them in the future. So we have a very extensive application lifecycle management in place. Simple wizards to package the whole solution, everything in there, the forms, the actions, the business logic, all is there. And yeah, just deploy them into teams. And since our apps are hosted on SharePoint, they can be used in Teams, on SharePoint directly, or on your mobile. And that's what I would like to show you in a couple of minutes, or for a couple of minutes. So what we have here is my Contoso demo environment, and I've just some demos prepared, and one is, for example, in here. So in my sales and marketing, I just have in my general tab, I have an additional tab over here, and I will see my contracts embedded in here. I can add a new contract from here, like this. It's a modern form for those of you who know what I'm talking about. And our forms are really having logic in there. So, for example, stuff like it's cancelled. Oh, I see a new field. Or it's replaced, then I see another field. For active, I have nothing. We have two sections here, 2 rows, and here we have some calculations. So for example, I say, okay, this was signed today. It will start on December 1st, and it has an end date, or it is a contract having no end date, so it's automatically extended. So I can define a cancellation mode, which is, let me say, yearly. And it automatically calculates those fields down here. So you see, next cancellation is possible per December 1st, 2020, and the deadline reminder is 1 month upfront, or 2 months upfront, then it's in October, stuff like this. So this logic is all embedded in here. Another example, let me give you one more, is here in planning. I've embedded our leave request example in here. I have some requests. I can say, okay, new request, and I can specify. You see the fields are already pre-populated. So my name, my email address, my manager, stuff like this. I can say, okay, it's vacation from tomorrow, only for tomorrow. Whoops, like this, and that will be 1 day. If I will put in a later date, those are 3 days. So this calculation is done automatically, and this is running in Teams. But I can as well click on go to website, and then I'm redirected to SharePoint. And I can do the same thing here. I can go to this form here, and I can do the same stuff here. And this one is fully responsive. So which means now we see these 2 columns. But if I switch here quickly to the mobile view, you will see that's how it will look like on your mobile. So on your mobile, you will have same experience. So you choose illness. I was sick. Day Wednesday. Go. So this is how it will work on a mobile. We can open them, of course, again here to approve or decline. You have this little process bar over here. This one is already approved. Yeah, and you see it's fully responsive. Like tabs in a full screen mode, tabs are like this. Will turn on your mobile into an accordion. So the information are in those accordions. And yeah, and that's the same experience I can use in Teams, in SharePoint, or like this on your mobile. Yeah, and for all of you who are interested in how this will work in detail and what you can do, it's very easy to extend such forms and functionality. We can show you. Then just contact us. We can give you a more detailed demo. Yeah, to sum it up, is Microsoft Teams a Swiss Army knife? Can we do collaboration, communication, collaboration, and business apps in one tool? We think definitely yes, because it combines all the tool like I showed on that periodic table in one tool. And since you can use your mobile, the Teams app on your mobile, the Teams app on your client, the browser, it's accessible from everywhere. And the extensibility with apps, with skybow, etc., makes it even more powerful. And hopefully sending internal emails should be history for your case. Yo, if you're interested, as I said, go to skybow.com, book a demo, and just start your trial to build business apps and deploy them to Teams. So 5 minutes before the end, I had no look at the question section. Sebastian, are there any questions?
Actually, no, I think everything is handled, at least of what I think. I've answered some questions directly. Tomislav helped out on a couple questions as well. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Tony.
And for the rest, I don't think we have any open question.
Cool. Maybe we still wait for a couple of seconds, because one thing you need to know about live events are almost live. They are about 10 to 20 seconds behind what I'm showing and saying, and the Q&A section is live. So maybe let's wait some more seconds, and yeah, otherwise we will send you the recording.
We have one question, and the question is, how did you combine Microsoft Teams and Forms?
The question will be what they mean with forms, because there's a forms, or what Microsoft is calling forms. There's a tool which they call forms, but that's actually more for surveys. We have our own form tool, which is fully integrated into your SharePoint lists, and a very powerful form builder for modern forms. Yeah, and this way we can easily integrate them into Teams. But maybe if you can specify your question more detail, what you mean with forms. Are you talking about Microsoft Forms, the survey thing? Like, let me see if I have them here. Forms.
The question is about skybow forms.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, skybow forms is just part of the it's just part of a list, so a modern list. If you open an item, and the exact same thing you will see in Teams, because behind every team there's a SharePoint site, so you can easily deploy the form to that specific site, or even somewhere else, doesn't matter, but it makes it much easier to deploy to the same site for permission reasons, and then you just integrate it into your team. You can integrate SharePoint lists and pages in your channels, and that's how it works. I hope that answers your question. Just give me a thumb up if it's the case. And are there more questions? Okay, I don't think so. So just in time, we will close for today. Thank you very much for attending, and thanks, Sebastian, for the background support. And yeah, have a nice day, evening, wherever you are. Thank you. Bye.